Mountain God needs no donations, only worship please. Chapter 12 Fan Fiction by Azazyel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. After escorting ran into my cathedral, frankly, I wanted to keep her closer to my human form, as she would be more likely to attack this facade of a body rather than try to do something like curse my whole mountainous body or something. Anyway, you are welcome to any of the rooms on the left wing, as the right wing of my cathedral is to house my champions, I said, pointing to the identical hallway leading off to the left as we entered, whereas Hiro's room was the first room on the right hallway. Seeing as each hallway had 20 rooms with their own bathrooms and showers along with a mini kitchen and well-stocked bar, I thought that was more than enough, seeing as the rooms were mainly for my champions to rest before and after any reports they needed to make to me. Then they could go to whatever house they had on my mountain. Well, this was all plans for the future, as with me just saying how the left side was now for important or otherwise guests that needed a close eye upon. Running water and power, huh? So were you a human who got taken to Jinsokyo or something? Ran asked conversationally, as it was obvious that my aesthetics didn't fit with the literal unwashed peasants living in the human village, which had the tech level of mid-1500s. I paused for a moment and didn't really see any harm in telling her truth, as it wouldn't give her anything to hold over, likewise hurt me with, but I also felt like getting my circumstances off my chest. Yes, of sorts. I was taken against my will and teleported onto Yokai Mountain, and I froze to death upon it. I said, shuddering at the memory of the icy wind ripping the warmth from my flesh, as well as the tiny tinges of warmth as the last pieces of warmth within my body dissolved and replaced with frostbite. Well, that doesn't really explain how you became a mountain god, as that's a far leap from turning from a casual ghost to an actual god, and not even the princess of ghosts could do such a thing. Ran muttered, and it took me a moment to connect the dots to Yuko, the lady with the power to apply the concept of death to things. Ghosts gather strength from emotions, right? I asked, thinking back to how those events unfolded and what happened. Ran hummed in thought as she sat down demurely on one of the 2 seats in the room she chooses to reside in and waved to the other one for me to sit in and for us to continue our conversation comfortably. Sort of. But by far the efficient method for a ghost to gather strength and to make themselves more real is to create karma between themselves and other people whose subconscious thoughts will elevate their existence. Ran explained, but I could tell this was obviously not her area of expertise, despite it giving many thoughts to consider. Like whether I am cross between a god or a ghost, and honestly maybe the entity who sent me to Jinsokyo fucked up the location and my so-called golden finger burnt itself out binding my soul to the mountain, or whatever. These are just thoughts and could very well be completely wrong, but who knows, and the people who could possibly help me find out could literally seal me away eternally to be some super battery like Ran alluded to earlier. Either way, I am here now and just trying to establish my feet underneath myself, I said, shrugging. Ran folded her hands across her stomach as she leaned back to enjoy the plush comforts of the chair I made with a soft sigh. Either way, if the whole mountain god thing doesn't work out, I will put in a word to Lady Yukari to commission some furniture from you. I have made noble phantasms with little effort, and she wants me to just be a casual carpenter. I thought incredulously with an eyebrow twitching. I will consider it, I said dryly, making her giggle, as she knew no person who had achieved godlike power would just up and give it up to go make furniture for others. We talked about a couple more lighter topics, like what she enjoyed eating and how she regularly snuck into the human village to buy dango and these sweets buns from a certain vendor that rarely opened, and promised that when she had a chance and he reopened that she would pick me up some to try. But inevitably our conversation was tilted back to me being an isolationist with an overpowered wall blocking the people I considered undesirable. Okay, so I understand you don't want the more feral and rabid yokai back on your mountain, but would you consider allowing the Tengu clan to move back, as the Moria shrine is bursting at the seams and as the goddesses within aren't dealing all too well with the Tengu who are squatting there? The thing is, and I did think about it heavily honestly, was the fact that the Tengu clan that held onto Yokai Mountain with an iron fist was just that. Extremely territorial to say the least, and I didn't want some literal bird brains thinking they could claim my body as their territory. Considering even now they are attacking my barrier even days after I had set it up. I paused to consider the words to say before continuing. Would it be worth it for me? I mean, I can just wait till my zone of influence grows until even the Moria shrine is under my aegis, and then if needed I can just raise them a new mountain. I said, obviously unenthused at the thought of a bunch of arrogant Tengu residing upon me and attempting to force some traditions on me. I could totally be wrong though, as only Raimu was afforded any respect after she repeatedly pounded them into the dirt to get to, around, and from Yokai Mountain. Honestly, the whole Tengu's attacking my barrier thing even now wasn't even annoying with how half-hearted the soldiers doing it were, as it was obviously a symbolic act or something, though I had noticed that the Moria goddess's familiars had stopped poking around. Ran could only nod, knowing how inflexible the Tengu were, with only Aya really being an exception, but she was annoying in her own way with how she was digging into everyone's dirty laundry to spread it all over Gensokyo in her newspaper. Very well, in any case I request to retire for the night as I am rather tired. Ran said, humbly asking me to leave her to rest, and I graciously nodded and excused myself to go sit back upon my throne and just watch the Oni settle down with their source of basically unlimited sake, and how they found the parts where the sake turned to and from normal water closer to the surface, so they still had water.